Is the end of the world close? It's a question that has echoed through the ages, from ancient prophecies to modern-day anxieties. With every challenge we face, from environmental crises to global unrest, it can feel like the world is teetering on the edge of something catastrophic. But today, I want to invite you to consider a different perspective. What if this moment of uncertainty isn't the end, but rather the beginning of something extraordinary? What if the obstacles we face aren't signs of doom, but opportunities for us to rise, to grow, and to transform the world in ways we never imagined? The end of the world may not be close, but the end of the way we've always done things is. And that, my friends, is the most exciting news we can hear, because every ending creates space for a new beginning. And within that space lies the power of our collective potential. Together, we have the strength to shape the future. So let's shift our focus from fear to possibility, from doubt to action. Today we begin the journey of not just surviving the times, but thriving through them. Change is often perceived as a threat, something to be feared or resisted. The very word change can spark feelings of unease, uncertainty, and even anxiety. It challenges our comfort zones, shakes the foundations of what we know, and forces us to adapt. But what if, instead of fearing change, we could learn to embrace it as an opportunity for growth and transformation? What if we could shift our perspective on change, seeing it not as something disruptive, but as something essential for our evolution? At the heart of this mindset shift is the understanding that change is inevitable. The world around us is constantly evolving, whether it's in technology, culture, or the environment. From the rise of artificial intelligence to shifting societal norms, the pace of change has never been more rapid. However, the very essence of life itself is change. Every living organism, every person, and every community undergoes change, whether willingly or not. And while we may not be able to control all the changes happening in the world, we do have the power to choose how we respond to them. When we embrace change, we open ourselves to new possibilities. The unknown can seem daunting, but it is also where innovation thrives. Think about the greatest inventions in history: the telephone, the airplane, the internet. Each of them emerged in a time of change, when someone dared to challenge the status quo and imagine a different future. These breakthroughs didn't come from staying in familiar, unchanging territory. They came from stepping into the unknown, embracing risk, and seeing the potential in what others might have dismissed as impossible. One of the most powerful aspects of change is that it pushes us beyond our limitations. When we face new challenges, we are forced to evolve, to grow, and to develop new skills. The person we are today may not be equipped to handle the challenges of tomorrow, but the person we become through the process of change will be. Change forces us to break free from old patterns of thinking and acting, allowing us to tap into new strengths and capabilities that we may not have even known we had. It's in the discomfort of change that we find the seeds of growth. It's easy to resist change when we feel a sense of security in the familiar. Our routines, our habits, our environments, they give us a sense of stability and control. But often, it's in the moments when we are forced to step outside of our comfort zones that we experience the greatest personal and professional breakthroughs. The discomfort of change is not a sign that we should retreat. Rather, it's a signal that we are on the cusp of something greater. Every time we challenge ourselves to adapt to new circumstances, we increase our capacity to thrive in the face of uncertainty. Resisting change often comes from a fear of failure. We worry that we won't be able to keep up, that we won't succeed in the new environment, or that we'll lose what we've worked so hard to build. But failure isn't the opposite of success, it's a part of it. Every successful person, company, and movement has encountered failure at some point. The key is not to avoid failure, but to use it as a stepping stone for learning and growth. Failure teaches us valuable lessons that we can apply to future challenges, and it helps us refine our approach until we find the success we seek. Furthermore, change often presents us with unexpected opportunities that we may never have considered before. For example, during times of crisis or adversity, new industries, technologies, and solutions often emerge. The COVID-19 pandemic also accelerated the adoption of remote work, digital transformation, and new healthcare technologies. What initially seemed like an obstacle became a catalyst for innovation. Those who were able to embrace these changes saw them as opportunities to pivot, adapt, and ultimately thrive in a new world. This principle applies to personal growth as well. Sometimes the changes we fear the most, such as a job loss, a relationship shift, or a health challenge, can be the very events that lead us to new passions, new paths, and new identities. For example, someone who loses their job may be forced to rethink their career path and might end up discovering a passion they never knew they had. Similarly, a personal loss or setback may spark a new sense of purpose and drive that wasn't possible before. When we embrace change, we allow ourselves the space to discover new aspects of ourselves and our lives that we might have never explored otherwise. The key to embracing change is cultivating a mindset of flexibility and adaptability, rather than holding on to rigid expectations or being overly attached to a particular outcome. We must learn to flow with the changes around us. This doesn't mean that we have to accept every change passively or without thought. Rather, it means that we choose to view change as a tool for personal and collective growth. We can actively participate in the process of change by staying open to new ideas, seeking out solutions to challenges, and adapting our strategies to suit the evolving landscape. When we approach change with curiosity and a willingness to learn, we begin to see the world in a different light. Instead of focusing on what we stand to lose, we can focus on what we stand to gain. We can shift our attention away from fear of the unknown and toward the potential for discovery and innovation. This mindset allows us to be proactive, taking control of our own journey, even in the face of uncertainty. Embracing change also requires letting go of past limitations and self-imposed barriers. We often carry outdated beliefs or assumptions that hold us back from fully embracing new opportunities. Perhaps we believe that we are too old to start something new, or that we don't have the skills necessary to succeed in a changing world. These beliefs are often based on fear or a fixed mindset, and they prevent us from seeing the true potential that change can offer. By challenging these limiting beliefs and embracing a growth mindset, we free ourselves to move forward with confidence and resilience. It's important to recognize that change doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process that requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to learn from mistakes along the way. But with each step we take, we get closer to becoming the person we need to be in order to thrive in a constantly evolving world. The more we embrace change, the more equipped we become to handle whatever challenges lie ahead. And with each challenge we overcome, we build our capacity for future growth, paving the way for even greater transformations in the years to come. In conclusion, change is not something to be feared or resisted, but something to be embraced. It is the driving force behind personal and collective growth, innovation, and transformation. By shifting our perspective and viewing change as an opportunity rather than a threat, we open ourselves up to a world of endless possibilities. The more we embrace change, the more we become the architects of our own futures, shaping our lives and our world in ways we never thought possible. Resilience is a trait that has been celebrated throughout history, from ancient philosophies to modern psychological studies. It is the ability to bounce back from adversity, to remain steadfast in the face of challenges, and to maintain a sense of hope and determination even when things seem difficult. In an ever-changing world, resilience is more important than ever. As individuals, communities, and societies, we face challenges that can seem insurmountable: economic instability, environmental disasters, personal losses, and more. Yet, it is through resilience that we can weather these storms, adapt to new circumstances, and come out stronger on the other side. At its core, resilience is not about avoiding difficulties, but learning how to navigate through them. It's the ability to persevere, not because we are immune to hardship, but because we are able to rise from it. Resilience is about facing adversity with a mindset of growth rather than defeat. It involves cultivating inner strength, emotional flexibility, and a sense of purpose that can guide us through life's toughest moments. It's not about pretending that challenges don't exist or pushing them aside. Rather, it's about confronting them head-on with the knowledge that we have the ability to overcome them. One of the key aspects of resilience is the ability to adapt. Life is unpredictable, and we can't always control the circumstances we face. Sometimes we encounter situations that seem beyond our control, whether it's a sudden illness, a financial setback, or a global crisis. In these moments, it's easy to feel helpless or overwhelmed. However, resilience allows us to adjust our mindset and approach. It reminds us that while we cannot always change the external circumstances, we have the power to change how we respond to them. This ability to adapt is what separates those who are defeated by adversity from those who use it as a stepping stone for growth. Adaptation doesn't mean simply accepting things as they are, but rather recognizing that change is part of life and that our capacity to evolve with it can determine our success. For example, in the face of a financial crisis, a resilient person doesn't give up or sink into despair. Instead, they look for new ways to generate income, explore alternative solutions, and find creative approaches to overcome the challenges they face. In the same way, those who experience personal loss or trauma may initially feel crushed, but resilience helps them eventually rebuild their lives and find meaning in their experiences. By accepting the reality of the situation, adapting to it, and taking proactive steps forward, we can regain our footing and emerge stronger. Another critical component of resilience is emotional regulation. Emotions can be powerful forces that shape our experiences and responses to adversity. When faced with hardship, it's natural to feel fear, anger, sadness, or frustration. These emotions are valid and important, but they can also cloud our judgment and prevent us from moving forward if we allow them to take control. Resilience is not about suppressing emotions, but about learning to manage them in a way that allows us to stay focused and clear-headed in the face of challenges. A resilient person acknowledges their emotions without letting them dictate their actions. They may feel overwhelmed by a difficult situation, but they don't allow those emotions to stop them from taking the next step. Instead, they use those emotions as fuel to propel themselves forward. For example, someone who experiences failure might initially feel disappointed or discouraged, but through emotional resilience, they can recognize these feelings, process them, and use the experience as an opportunity to learn and improve. Emotional resilience is about accepting that pain, disappointment, and frustration are part of the journey, but they don't have to define our path forward. Resilience also involves maintaining a sense of hope and optimism, even in the darkest of times. Hope is the belief that things can improve, that change is possible, and that we have the power to influence our own outcomes. When facing adversity, it's easy to become fixated on what is going wrong, to feel trapped in a cycle of negativity. Resilience, however, allows us to shift our focus toward what can go right. By cultivating hope, we can see opportunities where others might see only obstacles. This hope fuels our perseverance, helping us push through difficult times with a sense of purpose and belief in the future. One of the key strategies for building resilience is developing a strong support system. While resilience is an internal quality, it is also nurtured by the relationships and networks we build with others. In times of crisis, having people to lean on, whether family, friends, colleagues, or mentors, can make all the difference. These individuals provide emotional support, guidance, and encouragement when we need it most. They remind us that we are not alone in our struggles and that there are others who are willing to help us through challenging times. Resilience is often built through the experiences of facing and overcoming hardship. It's not something that comes naturally to everyone, but it can be cultivated over time through practice and perseverance. The more we face challenges and work through them, the more we strengthen our resilience. Overcoming difficulty teaches us that we are capable of handling adversity and that we can trust ourselves to find solutions when things get tough. In fact, each challenge we face can be seen as an opportunity to grow our resilience muscle. It's important to note that resilience doesn't mean never experiencing hardship or pain. In fact, part of what makes resilient people so strong is their ability to experience suffering, learn from it, and use it as a catalyst for growth. Resilience isn't about being invulnerable or immune to pain, but rather about being able to face adversity, endure it, and ultimately rise above it. The road to resilience may be long and difficult, but it is through overcoming challenges that we discover the depth of our strength. Moreover, resilience is not just a personal trait, it is also a collective one. Communities and societies that embrace resilience are better equipped to face shared challenges, whether they are economic crises, natural disasters, or social upheaval. When individuals within a community support one another, share resilience, and work together toward common goals, they create a foundation of resilience that can withstand even the most difficult of times. A resilient society is one that values collaboration, mutual support, and the ability to adapt to change. Finally, resilience is essential for long-term success. In a rapidly changing world, challenges are inevitable. Whether in our personal lives or in our professional careers, setbacks will happen. What separates those who thrive from those who falter is their ability to persevere in the face of difficulty. Resilient individuals are not defined by their failures, but by how they respond to them. They are able to maintain a sense of purpose, adapt to new circumstances, and keep moving forward even when the road is tough. With resilience, we can turn adversity into an opportunity for growth and continue to move toward our goals no matter the obstacles in our way. Unity is a powerful force, one that has the ability to transcend barriers, bridge divides, and create lasting change. In times of crisis or challenge, it is easy to feel isolated and overwhelmed, but unity has the potential to turn even the most difficult situations into opportunities for collective strength. Unity is not about uniformity or agreement on every issue, but about coming together with a shared purpose and a common goal. It is the understanding that together we are stronger than the sum of our parts. Unity is the foundation on which we can build resilience, overcome obstacles, and achieve greatness. One of the most remarkable aspects of unity is that it fosters collaboration. When individuals come together, they bring their unique perspectives, skills, and experiences to the table. This diversity is not a weakness, but a strength. By combining different viewpoints, talents, and expertise, unity creates a dynamic environment where creativity and innovation can thrive. Think of any great achievement in history, whether it's a scientific breakthrough, a social movement, or a community rebuilding after a disaster. These successes were never the result of one person acting alone. They were the product of collective effort, where individuals with different backgrounds and strengths worked together toward a shared vision. Collaboration is essential, not only in times of crisis, but also in everyday life, whether in the workplace, in our communities, or in our personal relationships. Unity enables us to accomplish more than we could on our own. In the workplace, teams that operate with unity can tackle complex projects more effectively, drawing on the diverse skills and perspectives of each team member. In communities, when people unite, they can create lasting positive change, from organizing support for the less fortunate to advocating for policy changes that benefit everyone. When we come together with a shared sense of purpose, we can achieve goals that would be impossible to reach individually. Unity also brings a sense of shared responsibility. When we are united, we recognize that our actions impact not only ourselves, but also those around us. This sense of collective responsibility fosters a spirit of cooperation and empathy. We begin to see that we are all connected and that the well-being of one is intertwined with the well-being of many. In times of crisis, this collective responsibility is especially important. Whether it's during a global pandemic, a natural disaster, or a social injustice movement, unity allows us to come together and take action for the greater good. By working together, we can pool resources, share knowledge, and create solutions that are far more effective than what any one individual could accomplish alone. Moreover, unity provides emotional support during challenging times. It's easy to feel hopeless or overwhelmed when facing adversity, but when we unite with others, we create a network of support that can lift us up and help us navigate difficult circumstances. In times of personal loss or hardship, it's often the people around us who offer the comfort and encouragement we need to keep moving forward. This emotional support not only helps individuals endure hardship, but it also strengthens the fabric of the community as a whole. When people support one another, they create bonds of trust and mutual respect that make the entire group more resilient in the face of future challenges. Unity also plays a critical role in building social cohesion and reducing division. In today's world, where polarizing issues and social fragmentation seem to be the norm, unity is more important than ever. It is easy to focus on the differences between people, whether they are based on political views, cultural backgrounds, or socioeconomic status. But unity encourages us to look beyond these divisions. It teaches us that while we may not always agree on every issue, we share common values and aspirations that can bring us together. These shared values, whether it's a desire for peace, equality, or the betterment of society, can serve as the foundation for unity. When we focus on what unites us rather than what divides us, we create an environment where understanding, cooperation, and respect can flourish. In the face of adversity, unity provides the strength to persevere. Difficult times often reveal the true character of individuals and communities. It's easy to remain calm and composed when everything is going well, but it's in times of crisis that the power of unity truly shines. When challenges arise, it's the support and solidarity of others that help us endure and overcome. Unity provides a source of strength that allows us to keep moving forward even when the road is uncertain. It reminds us that we are not alone in our struggles, and that by leaning on one another, we can find the courage to face even the most difficult circumstances. Unity also fosters a sense of hope. In a world that often seems divided and uncertain, unity provides a beacon of optimism. When people unite with a shared vision, they inspire others to join in and work toward the common goal. This collective energy creates a sense of possibility, a belief that change is possible and that together we can overcome any challenge. Whether it's a community coming together to rebuild after a disaster, or a group of activists advocating for social justice, unity inspires hope and motivates individuals to take action. In times of uncertainty, unity reminds us that there is always strength in numbers and that by working together, we can make a difference. Another important aspect of unity is that it helps to create a sense of belonging. In a world where many people feel isolated or disconnected, unity provides a sense of community and togetherness. It reminds us that we are all part of something greater than ourselves, and that our individual actions have an impact on the collective. When people feel a sense of belonging, they are more likely to contribute positively to their communities and to support others in need. This sense of belonging is not just about social connections. It's about fostering an environment where people feel valued, heard, and respected. In addition to these benefits, unity can also be a driving force for social change. History is filled with examples of people coming together to challenge injustice and inequality. From the civil rights movement to the fight for gender equality, unity has been at the heart of every major social change. When people unite in the face of injustice, they can create movements that challenge the status quo and demand change. This collective action has the power to shift cultural norms, influence policy, and transform societies for the better. Unity gives people the strength and courage to stand up for what is right, even when the odds seem insurmountable. However, unity is not always easy to achieve. It requires effort, understanding, and a willingness to put aside differences for the greater good. It means finding common ground, respecting diverse perspectives, and working together toward a shared goal. Unity requires patience, empathy, and a commitment to building relationships based on trust and mutual respect. It is not something that can be forced, but something that must be nurtured and cultivated over time. Yet despite the challenges, the power of unity is undeniable. When we come together, we create a force that is greater than the sum of its parts. In unity, there is strength, resilience, and hope. There is the ability to overcome adversity, to achieve shared goals, and to create a better future for all. When we embrace unity, we unlock our collective potential and create a world where anything is possible. The ability to take action is one of the most powerful tools we possess, and it is what separates those who merely dream from those who create. Action is the catalyst that turns ideas into reality, that transforms aspirations into achievements, and that brings change into the world. In times of uncertainty, it can be easy to feel paralyzed, to hesitate, or to become overwhelmed by the enormity of the challenges we face. However, it is through positive action that we can navigate through these challenges, make a tangible impact, and carve a path toward a better future. Action begins with a decision. Every journey, no matter how big or small, starts with the simple act of deciding to move forward. Often the hardest part is not taking the first step, but overcoming the fear, self-doubt, and hesitation that prevent us from taking it. The unknown can be daunting, and the potential for failure can be intimidating. But it is essential to remember that action is not about having all the answers up front. It's about taking that initial leap and trusting that the process will unfold as you move forward. Inaction, on the other hand, keeps us stuck in place, unable to make progress or learn from the experiences that will ultimately guide us towards success. One of the most important aspects of positive action is that it requires commitment. It's easy to take a step forward when things are going well, but true action comes in the face of adversity. It's about maintaining momentum even when obstacles arise, when things don't go according to plan, and when setbacks occur. Commitment means showing up, even on the tough days. It means continuing to push forward even when the results aren't immediate or when you encounter failure. It is through this persistence and determination that we build resilience and discover our capacity for greatness. The road to success is rarely linear, and positive action requires an unwavering belief that every step, no matter how small, is a step toward progress. Action also requires a sense of purpose. When we act with intention, we give ourselves direction. Without purpose, action can feel aimless or ineffective. Purpose provides clarity and focus, helping us align our actions with our values and long-term goals. When we know why we're doing something, we're more likely to remain motivated and committed, even when the going gets tough. Whether it's a personal goal, a professional ambition, or a broader societal mission, purpose fuels our desire to act and propels us through the challenges we face. Purpose reminds us that our actions matter and that the effort we put in will ultimately bring us closer to our desired outcome. Another critical element of action is the willingness to start, even if the path ahead isn't fully clear. Perfectionism often holds us back from taking the first step, as we feel that we must have everything figured out before moving forward. However, the reality is that no one has all the answers at the beginning of a journey. It's only through taking action that we gain clarity, learn from mistakes, and refine our approach. Action is the process of discovery. It's about learning as we go and adjusting our course based on the lessons we encounter along the way. Often, the greatest breakthroughs occur not when we have everything planned out, but when we take that initial leap and learn from the experience of doing. Moreover, positive action can be contagious. When we take action, we inspire others to do the same. There's a powerful ripple effect that occurs when one person steps up and leads by example. It can motivate those around them to take action in their own lives, whether in their personal endeavors or in collective efforts to address larger societal issues. The more we act, the more we create a culture of action, where others feel empowered to make their own contributions. This collective energy can create a movement, a wave of change that spreads and grows. Action is not a solitary pursuit. It's something that brings people together, encourages collaboration, and fosters a shared sense of purpose. Taking action also helps us overcome the fear of failure. Failure is often seen as the ultimate obstacle to success, yet it is an essential part of the journey. Every successful person, team, or organization has encountered failure at some point, but it is their response to failure that sets them apart. Instead of letting failure stop them, they use it as a learning experience, a chance to grow and improve. Failure is not a sign of defeat. It's a natural part of the process that provides invaluable lessons. When we take action, we inevitably face setbacks, but we also gain the wisdom needed to adapt, adjust, and try again. The fear of failure can hold us back, but taking action allows us to confront that fear head-on and move past it. The impact of positive action extends beyond the individual. In a world that often feels fragmented or divided, action is what brings people together. It's what drives social change, empowers communities, and fosters collective progress. Whether it's standing up for justice, advocating for a cause, or working together to solve a problem, action is what creates momentum for larger shifts in society. History has shown us time and again that change doesn't come from passive observation. It comes from taking bold, intentional action. The civil rights movement, the fight for gender equality, the push for environmental sustainability, these are all examples of how action, fueled by passion and purpose, can change the course of history. Positive action also requires us to be adaptable. The world is constantly changing, and the solutions that worked yesterday may not work today. It's easy to get stuck in old patterns or to continue doing things the way they've always been done. But action requires flexibility and a willingness to evolve. To create lasting change, we must be willing to challenge the status quo, experiment with new ideas, and innovate in response to emerging challenges. The ability to adapt is what allows us to stay relevant, to keep pushing forward, and to find new ways to achieve our goals. Action without adaptation can lead to stagnation, but when we remain open to change, we ensure that our efforts are always moving us in the right direction. Taking action also helps us build confidence. The more we act, the more we realize our own capacity to make a difference. Action allows us to test our abilities, stretch our limits, and discover strengths we never knew we had. Every step forward, no matter how small, builds our self-belief and reinforces our sense of agency. Confidence is not something that comes from waiting or wishing. It comes from doing. The more we take action, the more we prove to ourselves that we are capable of achieving what we set out to do. Finally, positive action helps us move from a place of uncertainty to a place of empowerment. It can be easy to feel overwhelmed by the problems and challenges in the world, but action is what empowers us to take control. It transforms us from passive bystanders to active participants in our own lives and in the lives of others. When we act, we stop waiting for change to happen. We become the change. Action is what moves us from feeling powerless to feeling purposeful, from feeling stuck to feeling empowered. It reminds us that we have the power to create, to solve problems, and to shape the future.